The Villain's Demand reviews Doctor Strange from Marvel Comics.
Hey guys, this is The Villain's Demand. I'm Evan the Great. This is Justin Von Doom, and this is Hero Man. Today we're here to bring you another comic book review over Doctor Strange, Volume 3, Issues 1 through 5.
This book starts off, and it's Doctor Strange fighting, he ends up fighting some Soul Eaters. They're inside of a young boy, and he's trying to fend them off. His parents actually hired him. They didn't know who else to turn to. After he gets done with this, he's walking through the street, and it shows the world that Strange sees. He can see all these different dimensions and all these parasites from other realms attacking people. He ends up fighting off a psych leech. It's on this old man, and when he's fighting it, it attacks him, and he looks like just some crazy drunk guy on the street. But he ends up defeating it, and he goes to this secret bar inside of New York. It's called the Bar with No Doors. It's for anybody that's magic based. That's where they go to get together and talk about everything. The only ones there for this meeting, because Doctor Strange is late, is Scarlet Witch, Dr. Voodoo, and Shaman. And they get to talking about all this strange stuff that's happening in the world. Like, the Soul Eaters, they're very rare. They were actually surprised that he's seen one. And then the Psych Leech was also very rare. And they kind of feel like this is something they need to look into. That could be a pending threat. And then after they get done there, Strange is going back to his sanctum. And Zelma Stanton of the Bronx is there. And she wants to go in, but she don't want to go in. She's kind of on the fence about it. Doctor Strange talked her into going in before she even knows it's him. Then when they go inside, she shows him why she's there. She's actually got all these little mouths and teeth on top of her head. And, you know, he assures her he's seen this before. He has it. He ends up getting them out, but then he releases a bunch of mind maggots into his sanctum. And his magic starts failing. And he can't trap them. So now they got to go through the sanctum and track these things down and figure out how to stop them. They can't let them out, so Zelma can't leave either. And then they find out that Zelma has to tell secrets. The bigger, juicier the secret, that's what they feed on. Luckily, Doctor Strange finds this while Zelma is being attacked out of this, basically Doctor Strange's food out of his fridge that Wong saves her from, and he just instantly kills it and starts cooking it. That's when Wong's introduced. Then they find Strange, and that's when he finds out that she has to start telling her secrets to get them to come. So she starts telling her secrets. All these mind maggots starts rushing in. Doctor Strange captures them in himself rather than her. He's going to starve them to death because his mind's protected. They can't get to his secrets, so they're just stuck in his body, and he says they'll starve to death. That's how they end up defeating them. And then Strange fights some of these slugs. Like the next book, he shows up and he's naked. He's fighting all these slugs that eat magic. He's in his astral form. He's like in the park. He ended up getting blown. His astral form got blown out of his body into the park, and he's fighting off all these slugs that they're magic eaters. He finds a magical axe. He's able to get away. He gets back to his sanctum, drawing them there. He tries to go trap them inside of this in a door to another magic realm that's all magic based. That's where all the Sorcerer Supremes go to like meditate. But when he gets there, all the magic's burn out. It's gone. And so there's no magic there left. And then that's when they find out that Sorcerer Supremes are actually being executed. There's like a tree with them staked on it all over, dead. He knows some of them. He doesn't know some of them. That's when he knows he's got a problem. Where am I at? Then so then Doctor Strange goes back to the Bar with No Doors. He's telling everybody about it. And now there's multiple people there. Scarlet Witch is there again. Dr. Voodoo, Shaman, Magic, Hellstrom. Just a number of people. And they're talking about all this. Then they start talking about the punch. You know, every punch has a retract. Like every time he uses magic, it hurts him. They're wanting him to know he needs to worry about this. He's kind of shrugging it off because, you know, right now he's got bigger things to deal with. He ends up locating some magic, and he goes down to is it Atlantis?
It's Watum.
Watum. He goes to Watum, and when he's down there, he gets attacked by these machines. They dampen your magic, and that's what's been killing all these Sorcerer Supremes. It's like the army. He ends up fighting them off, and then when he comes back to the city, they're attacking. They're attacking everything, and they're killing all magic. During this time, Wong has left, and Wong's going to the Himalayas, where he's got these secret disciples of Strange. And this goes back to the punch, that with every punch there's a counter, and Wong has these disciples. They take the burden of the magic that he's using, and what it does, it like eats away at you. And there's like 12 disciples that rotate, taking on some of this backlash for Strange, and they're just getting ate up by it. And Wong needs them all. He needs them all in there at once, but they can't afford to do it. But that's what he needs, because there's a battle coming with these machines. And then it goes back to the city, and they're all fighting them. And the only way to stop it is Doctor Strange to use Atlantean black magic, which the first time he used it, it almost killed him because of the backlash from it. What I've been talking about, the punch. It almost killed him, but he has to do it again to stop him. So he ends up using it again, and it kind of stalls him for a little bit, but it doesn't stop him. It doesn't completely work. And then the Empirical, they're still attacking, but now their Imperator, and he shows up. He's their leader, and he shows up, and it's about to be the final battle, and that's when this arc cuts off.
I really like this story. It's not what I was hoping for and expecting, and I wound up liking it anyways. Jason Aaron's doing this. There's a lot of build-up in this book for the future of Doctor Strange. I felt like this book is going to touch on something Marvel has not really brought up in a very long time. It's the world of magic. Kind of like, I feel this is the start of what Marvel did with Annihilation. How they really brought back the cosmic scene to Marvel. And just the little things that are built up in this book were Doctor Strange, where he showed up in Invincible Iron Man that we've also reviewed. I really think this is going to lead to something extremely big, and it's going to blow your mind.
Yes, it will. I like Jason Aaron's take on Doctor Strange, because he's a really good comic book writer, and to him take on a character like this is different from his other characters that he's wrote. And the book itself, it starts kind of slow, but it feels like he builds layer after layer, and he's using magic as the background, and he's kind of putting magic out there, kind of like Von Doom said, and they're trying to bring it back. And then he's also got, I really like the bar scene where he's got all the other magic people in there. I can see a lot of these characters start to come in this book, start to have team-ups, and I really like the way that they describe, what's the doctor's house called?
The Sanctum Sanctorum.
The Sanctum Sanctorum. I really, really love the way that they wrote that. They drew it, they illustrated it, showed what's inside, how it operates, and then, of course, I like the way that they use Wong. And it was a really good story.
I agree. I enjoyed the story. At first, it's a little hard to get into because it's just him fighting these little creatures that are, they look like giant insects that, regular humans can't see. He's fighting them on different planes, different realms and whatnot. But it's always different each book. He's fighting something different, this, that, which is kind of interesting, but it didn't feel like there was a lot of build up to it. And then all of a sudden it all starts falling into place. All this is happening because something bigger is happening. And a lot of this stuff is actually fleeing from their realms. And that's how they're getting caught up in our realm. That's why we never see them. So then all that starts explaining, and the book just, to me, became whole. Then it turned out to be a really good book, and I really enjoyed it.
Like I said, this book really shows you the world of magic, and it's all really through Doctor Strange's eyes, where you're talking about where, what are they, the Soul Eaters in the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
He's literally on an ectoplasmic plane, which is basically this boy's soul, and he's fighting them. And then where he starts fighting the psychic leech that's on this old man. You see the world the way that he sees it. It's nice because the way it's drawn out is when he sees that realm, that layer of the world, everything normal is in black and white, and then everything magical is colored. And it's a really nice take on a comic book from a mystical side of the world. And I thought that was really cool because I've never seen anything like that from a comic book, from someone's point of view. And then he's always talking about the nether realms. Like I said, I think they're really going to really get into the magical side of Marvel, and it's nice. But I'm assuming that when he is seeing stuff like this, he's always got his third eye.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's in a sense, the eye of Agamotto in a way. One thing that was taken away from this book that I was hoping for is the way Aaron has wrote Strange compared to how Bendis writes Strange. He is saying the spells, and that's very classic Doctor Strange, you know, Crimson Bands of Serac and all that other stuff. Where when Bendis was writing it, you would always get the text of the spell and the book and the chapter and such. And I was kind of upset not to see that in the book. I thought that was a really cool way Bendis done it, and I was hoping to see it carried over this. But Jason Aaron has done it in his own way, and it's really nice.
Yeah, just to get back on how he's writing the book, how he writes Strange. The one thing I like about the book a lot about Strange is a lot of people that's outside the comic book world or people that don't know much about Strange, they think he's just a magic user. But on the inside, Strange is a very tough individual because of the punch. Like you said, every time you punch somebody, it hurts your hand. Every time you cast a spell, it hurts him, even though his disciples are taking a lot of it. And you just see the toll in the everything that's happened to Strange to get him to this point to where he's actually, this is what makes him a superhero in my mind. And to see the stuff that he almost kills himself at certain points just to protect people. And another thing in the story that I really like we've kind of talked about a little bit, is how it's kind of the beginning and throughout he talks about how there's many things that affect somebody, like diseases and things that affect your body, and then they can also be the same thing that like soul eaters attach themselves to. The same things that can hit your soul like a normal thing can hit you physically. And it's really cool to see Doctor Strange dive into that and let you kind of know what it means and how, and then the comic, like he's talking about the artwork, shows how you can see it compared to how we would see regular stuff ourselves. And to have that eye, be able to see the extra dimensions of this world, I guess you could say, is really cool. I just really like the way they wrote Strange off, and it's a really good book.
I also, since we're all touching on it, want to touch on how the magic was wrote in this book. If you're interested in a different side of magic, I think picking this book up and reading it is a good idea. They introduced, at least to me, some ideas I never even thought of, like the price of magic, when you use it, how it hurts you, and also how using magic has changed him physically. Like he can't even eat normal food. He has to eat food that would kill a normal person, and Wong talks about how eventually it will probably kill him too, but everything else turns to ash. You know, just the price of magic, because I've always just assumed, in all honesty, Doctor Strange was almost too powerful. You know, he could do anything.
He's like, to me, he is the most strongest person on Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, easily.
And he can do so much, but then reading this book, you kind of find out that a lot of that stuff, man, it comes with a price.
You see the behind the scenes of what he does, and it's really neat.
And he talks about how he only sleeps like 3 hours a night, because if he sleeps any more than that, the nightmares will eat him and kill him, and just, you know, so this dude's got a tough life, you know, and his love for magic and his want to be a hero, and it overrides that, and you know, it's worth it. He talks about how it's worth the price of magic. You know, he'll take the price. But Doctor Strange don't know about all of his disciples taking a big burden of this.
Yeah.
But either way, that also made me think, this has got to be all magic. Like, I wonder if what happens to Doom, because Doom's up there.
Yeah.
The Brother Voodoos, do they have disciples, or are they just burdening it? Or have they found another way around it? I feel like there's a lot they can introduce and talk about with other characters that, you know, I never thought about. I didn't even know if it existed till this book.
Well, it's a nice little take, because like you said, you brought up Doom, and that's a really good question, because the old man was talking about how when he would take on Nazi warlocks, and he would literally sacrifice one of his rabbits afterwards.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then you would assume that somewhere down the line, these other guys that are in that group are doing it themselves, and even Doom per se. But yeah, it'd be really nice to see their take and how they deal with that. Like I said, it's a totally different side of Marvel that you haven't seen, I would say, really since probably the late 70s, maybe early 80s, when Doctor Strange was really big, and, you know, then he kind of died off, and now they're making this push for the movie. But yeah, it'd be a really nice thing to see with this price you pay for magic. And what's odd is, I don't remember what I was watching the other day. It was on Sci-Fi Channel, and it was about magic, and that's what the story was about, was paying the price for magic. It was almost kind of the same thing, and I thought that was really neat. But
cool.
yeah, I would like to see how, like, Magic is in this book. Magic is my favorite X-Men, and she's a character in the last couple of years. You really see how magic affects her, And does she do this? You know, is that maybe something that might play off in like the Extraordinary X-Men book?
Well, I mean, a lot of them, like, I can honestly see Doom having a little factory that when he's using his magic, it's like through his suit or whatever, it's calculated into his factory, and it's sacrificing whatever he's sacrificing. You know what I mean? Like, like the old man did. I can see Doom having something set up like that. Magic, she has a lot to do with Limbo. Maybe she goes there.
Sacrifice some demons. That was what I was thinking.
Sacrifice some demons or something. Kind of balance the odds rather than taking it on herself. Where Doctor Strange, he's so, I guess, good-hearted. He couldn't just go drown no little poor rabbit. So, you know, he's been trying to take it on himself.
Yeah, and also a good part about this book is you got the magic, you got all the main characters, and now I want to kind of talk about some of the supporting cast. Like I said earlier, Wong is really cool because you find out in the book how much Doctor Strange needs Wong and how much he means to him. And the fact that Wong's kind of like your butler slash your medic slash and like you said, the only one he can ever trust is Wong. So Wong knows all of his secrets. He knows everything there is to know about Strange. So it's almost like you don't have Strange without Wong because he's there to help him with the burden. He's there to fix any problems he encounters. He's kind of there as somebody he can talk to about this stuff. And he's a really cool character. And another character that I kind of like, was Velma. Ever since the beginning of the book, you kind of get this, this girl, and all the stuff that she goes through is really cool because anything that's wrong with her, just like all the other patients Dr. Strange has, he goes into and he tells you all about it. Like why these are called soul eaters and why there's so many in the world. And then he goes and they talk about the slugs and how all these things either eat, they eat magic or they try to come for your soul. And it's really cool to see interaction between Doctor Strange and the other characters in the book. And then, of course, like this book don't really have a big bad guy, I guess. It's got more of a group of bad guys. And I bet whenever this encounter towards the end of the book starts to happen is where you're going to see some of these people from the bar. I think they're going to have to they're probably going to show up and help Strange out.
Yeah, see, that's what I want to see is he has gathered these group of people, obviously. For one, I'm sure they're obviously their colleagues. Some of these guys he could even count as friends. But yeah, eventually they're going to play into the book in some way. And by the way, this, however you want to call them, what we call them, the empirical, is destroying realm by realm, and then all these other Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, eventually they will play into the book at all. And that's where I'm hoping Doctor Doom will show up, or now that he's Victor Von Doom, will show up in this book as well. Because we've seen Invincible Iron Man, he's starting to play a major role in books, and why not have him in this one?
I enjoyed how each realm had its own Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, that's something that's been tied throughout Doctor Strange.
But you don't know, you don't know how powerful them Sorcerer Supremes really are.
No.
Because to be Sorcerer Supreme, you just have to be number one. You know, being number one could be a low ranking if you went to a different realm.
If you're the only person using magic.
Yeah. But I did think it was cool that they're going through and killing all them people and then bringing them to that magic world and putting them on that tree. Kind of reminded me of 300 when they sacrificed all them bodies on that tree. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what that looked like. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, did they bring them there, or were they already there? Because like Strange said, that was a place where sorcerers would come to meditate.
Yeah, they could have been there. And
so I assumed that they were there and they attacked the place because there was the witch hunter wolf that was left there.
Yeah.
Almost in a way like they probably knew more of them would show up to track Bill. So I just assumed that they were there.
But that's how they found Strange too. When he showed up, they pinpointed him, and that's when they actually knew him. They're like, "Oh, I've heard that name before." And that's why they came to Earth. I get maybe before other ones. Well, with the majority of the book already laid out, what was y'all's favorite parts?
Man, there's a lot of parts in it I really liked. I would say my favorite part is probably when the witch hunter. I really liked the way that was drawn and the way that it encountered and the way Doctor Strange had to handle all that stuff. I really liked it. And the main part I like all that is that's when he goes to the, what's the world he's in, the reality that he goes to.
He goes to a bunch of realities.
Where he fights all that stuff.
Well, he fights it in under the ocean at the Temple of Wantu.
Yeah.
It's on Earth. It's not really.
Oh, never mind. That ain't a different reality.
I'm pretty sure that's on Earth. Yeah, because it's on the ocean. It's in the Indian Ocean, actually. Yeah.
I really liked the way that scene was, and the way, he went there, and I liked how all that took place. It was a really good combat / storytelling spot in the book for me.
I didn't really have a favorite, I guess, scene in the book. Just my favorite scenes was just like I said, the way he sees things, how normal is in black and white, but everything he would see, or your magicians that he knows, your sorcerers and whatnot. See, that was my favorite book. Just the way he viewed everything and basically how he saw the world for what it was. Like, you know, and the Great was saying, you were talking about where a common cold to us would be just a cold. But to what he sees, it might be one of these leeches or something, you know, sucking the life force out of you. I just thought, you know, overall, you've seen that really in the first 3 issues. And to me, that was probably my favorite thing about the book. I really didn't have a particular scene. And I just thought that was really neat because when I was reading this book, I never thought that it would have been told like that. And it's a really cool way of storytelling.
Mine was more of the almost backdrop layouts. Like, I really enjoyed the bar without doors, how all the people or magic base go there to communicate or whatever it may be. Like, their only place of peace, really, to get away from this outside world, all the chaos out there. I liked the idea of that, but I also really liked inside the sanctum. Like, when you go in there, there's hallways, all kinds of different hallways that got all these different doors. And each door leads to a different dimension. Like, one of them's got zombies in it that try to attack Zelma. And then one leads to the that magic world where all the Sorcerer Supremes go to meditate.
The meditation-like world, yeah.
Just different ones. I really enjoyed that. His living room looks like a jungle, and there's snakes on his coffee table.
And his living room was like huge.
Yeah.
The way they were walking in it.
Yeah, it was huge. Which outside the building kind of looks small, but when you go in it, it's huge. It's mansion size or castle size probably. But as they're walking through his living room, they got it's like a jungle, and then the snakes are there, and they're like, "Hey, girl," and they're talking to her, and he's like, "Don't talk to the snakes," you know. And so I really enjoyed the inside of his house. I thought that was really interesting how they wrote that. I would personally like to take a tour through it
and not look at anything.
Yeah,
because don't look at anything for long. And it was really cool because right after the living room, they walk down the hallway and the ghosts are talking to him.
Yeah,
like almost like their therapist in a way.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that even goes back to tying in where, you know, Evan the Great was talking about the refrigerator. What was in the refrigerator? You know, when it attacked Selma and Wong saved her. The Sanctum Sanctorum, there's a lot of comedy in a book that's going to be written more serious. I would assume it's a good way to interject in comedy because the Sanctum Sanctorum, in a way, is infinite.
Yeah.
It's got almost no end. And there's a lot you could play off on that. And I could see where maybe whole arcs of this series would actually take place in that house and, you know, never leave it. And what was cool is you even got a history of the place.
Yeah.
You know, where they talk about the Potter's Field and where they bury people from Rikers, the satanic cult that was there. It was really cool this is why this is such the most magical location in New York City. It was really nice to see that.
Another room I wanted to talk about was like the endless stairs. Now they're going all the different angles upside down.
You had to have something like that in this house. I mean, that's almost like a thing for magic.
And he had to tell her, don't concentrate on it, it'll drive you mad.
Yeah, don't look up. And don't look down. You know, basically, it was almost like, look at me.
Yeah.
You know.
It would be trippy walking through there.
Yeah.
Kind of like that artwork you see when you're in school where all the different ladders going, they lead to nowhere, but they lead to somewhere. I thought that was also really cool.
Yeah, so definitely, if Dr. Strange ever said make yourself at home, I would not.
well, it's strange because, you know, like when Zelma first shows up, it's almost like a normal place.
Yeah.
And then when she wants to leave and she turns there's no door, the whole place just goes off in, you know, left field and takes a mind of its own. And it's really cool. And, you know, and then you go to the library, which was funny. She was like, that's the most horrific thing I've ever seen. I thought, wow, what is she looking at? It was the library and the books were just laying around everywhere.
Yeah, she's the librarian.
Exactly. And it's cool because then he gives her the job and you know that she's going to play a bigger role in this book, you know, throughout the issues. Because when he gets the mind maggots from her and they're kind of looking at her, she's got all that snoo and stringy shit all attached to her when he's looking at her with his third eye. And she's attached to something somehow, and eventually that's going to play out. I mean, for all we know, she might become a sorcerer herself.
I can almost see her becoming Doctor Strange's librarian.
Well, she kind of is in a sense.
Every Saturday.
Yeah.
To see the world like this for the first time, she's starting to see that there is things different. maybe that it would intrigue her to almost join forces, and then, like you said, maybe she will show some kind of magic properties, and Strange might already know that too.
Well, another thing talking about librarians is I thought it was cool that Doctor Strange's books can die.
Yeah, well, magic was dying.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
because the magic was dying, and then but the books, they would just be empty once they died. They were just blank pages, and some of them you don't even want to open because they're whatever's in them could be dangerous, but they're just falling down and dying. Are becoming empty, and then they go into how every magic has a source. It's linked to somewhere. Every book that he has that's magic, that magic is linked to somewhere.
Yeah, it's linked to a realm.
Yeah,
You know?
wherever it came from, that's where it's linked to. And so when they go destroy that realm and kill all the magic, that book also loses its magic. I thought that was a really cool little twist that they kind of explained a little bit.
Since we're on the since we talked about the librarian and whatnot, let's talk about how Doctor Strange is basically the Tony Stark of the mystical world with all the ladies and whatnot.
Yeah, I did think that was
It's very
that was
comical
funny.
because, you know, they're all some mustache bros. Isn't that what he called him in Invincible?
Oh, Lord,
Yeah.
he did call it
Yeah.
Because he's pimp on a different reality. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. Because, you know, the first, you know, the Soul Eater, I guess you could say their queen in a sense. He shows up and he's like, I'm casting a spell. She's totally into me. You know, and then Dr. Voodoo is like, let's get to the point that, you know, let's get to the point that matters. You made out with Soul Eater?
Yeah.
You know, he was just like mesmerized by that. You know, then you know this is going on because Scarlet Witch calls him a dog, you know.
Yeah.
You deserve what's coming to you. You're a dog. And then, you know, when he asked her about being the librarian, she said, you know, is this your strange way of asking me on a date, you know? So, you know, you got Doctor Strange, Mac Daddy of the Netherrealm, or Netherworld, or Ectoplasmic Soul Layer, whatever layer, you know, he's a pimp.
Second part to the mustache bros.
Exactly, yeah, you know. Him
I
and Tony
did think-
Stark,
yeah.
handcuffs.
I thought that was pretty cool too.
I can see a lot of team ups between him and Tony.
Well, hopefully you do see that. I mean, I felt that Bendis, which was Strange, who wrote the Iron Man book, and I was just talking about him with Doctor Strange. You know, that was in there, and hopefully, maybe some down the line, these books will intertwine with each other, and Aaron and Bendis will work together and give us a good little story.
They have a good chance to make them intertwined with what's going on right now.
Yeah, you get your magic versus science.
Well, that and Doom is playing a heavy part in the Iron Man book.
Yeah.
And Doom is, as we all know, he's very magic-based. Like, he's got a lot of magic to him. So, you know, if they're coming to kill all magic, Doom's going to have something to say about it.
I would assume.
You know, especially with what it looks like now. He turned a new leaf. He's given up his armor. He's just going magic-based. I mean, he's just trying to turn his leaf over. He's not going to let these people come in and ruin that. Whether he's got another like method or something he's wanting to do behind the scenes, he still ain't gonna let him come ruin whatever he's trying to do. Whether he is trying to be good or if he's got something, you know,
ulterior
planned.
motives. Yeah. Well, you know, that's what's great about the book, because, you know, the basis of the book is something that's always going on in Marvel, which is magic versus science. See a lot of it with Tony and Pym and Reed every time it comes to, you know, a conversation with Doctor Strange. They always say, oh, magic is just another form of science. We just haven't been able to explain it yet. And then in this book, basically science and the technology from it is wiping out magic, and that's not a lot of... You don't see that a lot in Marvel. And, I mean, it's to the point where, you know, it's literally destroying realities. And I assume, you know, wanting to cross over with Tony is your perfect way to help maybe reverse engineer this technology and find a way to bring all this back.
If they can destroy one of the machines and get it to him.
Or even not even destroy it, just to the fact that he can capture it. More importantly, is this empirical, where is it from? Because you look at some of the, I guess you would call them soldiers in the book, when you first see the Imperator, or whatever you want to call it, their leader, they're like real scrawny, long arms, long fingers, almost like aliens in a sense.
Yeah, with a big round head.
Yeah, well, could you say it was a head to me? I thought it was like more like a helmet. Like an old
It
scuba
was a
in
helmet, but it kind of looked like they had
sense.
something on.
Yeah, so I mean, where are these people from? You know, what are they?
Well, they talk about how they see magic as a virus, as a curse, and they're purifying people. Like, magic's a bad thing. So wherever they're from, I feel like their leader had some kind of something bad. Like maybe he's magic based, and then the price of magic, like
Was
somehow
too high
killed
to
his
him.
family or something. You know what I mean? Like it drove him mad to the point he wanted to be so powerful that he started pushing the effects off on the people around him, and it killed his family or something. So then he's like, no magic.
It's very Salem witch hunter trial-ish. The whole book is.
And so I would like to see also this guy's backstory. Like why is he hunting down magic? Why does him and his followers? Because they don't look like him either.
No.
He looks more humanoid.
Oh, and then they've got the wolves too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole mixture of things there that are very intriguing to what's going on.
Yeah.
So if you guys are wanting to get into the magic of the Marvel Universe, this is definitely a good book to dive into because they do a really good, as you heard us talk about it, they do a really good job on displaying how magic works, why it's here, what its purpose is, and how it wraps everything up.
How magic users see magic.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's really cool for this book. Another thing I like about this book, we've been doing a lot of these newer books, is almost every one of these books tie in with each other. Because, you got Tony tying in with Doctor Strange, and you got, Doom tying in with Tony. And then in Tony's book, we talked about Invisible Iron Man. You got the other chick tying in with the mutants.
And then you got Magic here tying into the X-Men.
And everything so far is working together, which is going to be a really good jumping point for Marvel.
Oh, if I didn't know if I was going to say, I really enjoyed the book, and I was going to say if you graded it at.
I give it an 8.5. Like I said, I was expecting a lot more. And I wasn't really let down. It's like not what I was expecting. But when reading it and realizing what it's building towards, I really, really enjoyed it. So I guess I give it a 9.
Potential. It has a lot of potential.
It's got a lot of potential. There's a lot working in the background of the book.
Yes.
Probably going to give it a 8 myself. But it's like an 8 with a question mark. I do that a lot because there's so much more to come from this book. And the book started slow, and by issue 5, I really enjoyed it. So it's like layer after layer, like I started the video out with. So it could be a 10 by the time this is all done.
And talking about issue 5, there's a good cliffhanger there. They're in front of Strange. It's what Strange is going to do. Teleport away.
Yeah. I give it a 7.5 for a couple reasons. I think it's a good book. I think it starts a little slow. Kind of takes a little bit to draw you in to get that ball rolling, which I talk about quite a bit. I like books to have that scene where it just grabs you and you're hooked. And I didn't care a whole lot for the artwork. I enjoyed the way they drew how he's seen the world, but I didn't like how they were kind of wishy-washy between almost being cartoonish and almost being realistic. That bothered me a little bit, but all in all, it was a good book, a slow start, and it did explain magic and everything, and it has a lot of potential. So, I'll steal one from Evan the Great's book. I'll give it a 7.5 question mark because it's going to get better.
Well, we're the Villains, man. This is our review of Volume 3, Doctor Strange, first story arc, Way of the Weird, Justin Von Doom. He's Hero Man. It's Evan the Great. Keep reading, guys.